Well, for Kathryn Bigelow, it was a night of triumph in becoming the first woman to win the Best Director Oscar for her film The Hurt Locker. It's put the spotlight on why women don't feature more in the production side of the movie industry. So what's holding them back? Let's find out more with our correspondent Sophie Hutchinson, who's at the Bird's Eye View Film Festival in London for us. Sophie, do explain.
Yes, well, I'm here at the ICA and they are celebrating women in film and trying to promote women in film. Well, with me is the managing director of this festival, Amy Mole. Amy, just for a start, I mean, what's your reaction to Kathryn Bigelow's huge win last night, historic win?
Oh, it's fab news for us. We're at Bird's Eye View Film Festival and this is a platform to celebrate women filmmakers from all over the world. But what this really does, I mean, it's great news, but it really does highlight the discrepancy that exists in the UK and in America as a gender imbalance within the film industry.
Why do you think there is such an imbalance?
Well, I think there's lots of reasons. I think some of them can be very, very subtle. But I think, firstly, the director's job is so erratic and so all-consuming. And sometimes you can be away on very long periods of time, on location. It's quite a huge job. And I think if you actually approach that with the idea of child rearing at any point, it becomes something seemingly a possibility. But Jane Campion took a few years out recently and came back. But she came back because she's Jane Campion. So it's much harder for lesser-known directors.
I mean, are we talking about a bit of a boys' club, basically?
Well, since early cinema, the industry has been very male-dominated, and it is a laddie environment. In the past, we have had reports of, outright sexism on set, with film crews having real trouble taking direction from a female director. So that does exist, but these are not commonplace at all, and it happens quite rarely. But we have had those examples.
Do you think it's a bit of a shame that Kathryn Bigelow didn't mention the fact that she's the first woman in her speech? I mean, I don't know, how do you feel about that?
Well, to be honest, I think that first and foremost, it's about the quality of the film. And the fact that she's a woman director is brilliant because there is a discrepancy within the film industry and there is a gender imbalance. So it is important to highlight that. But for us at Bird's Eye View, moreover, it's all about the quality of the film and how brilliant that is. And the fact that it's made by a woman is also fantastic.
Well, also with me is the short filmmaker, Destiny Carragher. Destiny, I mean, how tricky is it? Have you faced problems, do you think, that your male counterparts would not have faced?
No, so far I haven't. Not to my knowledge anyway. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but so far I've been extremely lucky. But the statistics, they kind of speak for themselves, so obviously something's happening.
Well, yeah, I mean, we were talking earlier about this study from 2009 when 7% of those top 250 grossing films were made by women, just 7%. Yeah. Do you feel it as well in the industry? Are you aware that you're one of the few women?
Yeah, I am, and I think when I hear statistics like that, it's like, it is one of those things, but again, the industry is it's led by men. It's a very male industry, and it's a lot of the people at the top they're quite old, and they're quite white, and they're quite male. And I think when it comes to women, they have these stereotypes. For instance, I said earlier that, if as a woman I said I wanted to direct Saving Private Ryan, they would have been like, no, because maybe they were scared that I'd turn it into a chick flick or whatever. And we do have all these connotations attached to us that aren't even that negative, because what's wrong with a chick flick? But people are under the impression that we can't handle stress or things like that as well as men can.
And yet you see The Hurt Locker, and it's a film that is all about men.
Exactly, and that's why I was so happy about the win, because I saw The Hurt Locker, I thought The Hurt Locker was fantastic, and as a kid I saw Point Break, which again was Kathryn Bigelow and was one of my favourite films, but I didn't know it was directed by a woman until much later, and when I found out that was one of the things that made me think I can make whatever I want.
And you have made a short film all about boys in a park called The Park.
Yeah. Again, the main characters are males and they're teenagers, and it is about male issues and stuff like that. And I do often hear the question, well, how do you know that? How did you know that? And it's like, well, there are male directors out there making, films about females, and they don't get asked the same question. So it's I think people are under the impression that we can't possibly know, because, we're women, which is bizarre.
So Kathryn Bigelow's win really gives you hope in this industry, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I think now do you know what it is? The reason why I'm so happy about her win as well, it's not necessarily her winning as a female, it's the film, because that film is about males and soldiers at war. These are films that we've been told that we won't be good at making. And so to win for a film like that, rather than a film that people would associate with women, that's all we needed, I think.
Well, very good luck to you.
Thank you.
Since the recession, we're told that fewer women are directing films, but there is a great deal of hope here tonight following the success of Kathryn Bigelow. Now back to you.
Sophie.